Right.
All right, so hello, good afternoon, welcome back to our fun meeting time. So yeah, this round we were looking at those standards 4 and 5,
Right.
and the standards were like building content.
Content knowledge.
That's right, content knowledge, and then like applying it.
Yes.
Those are two. Yeah. So I saw everything that you wrote about that you wanted to do, in that video. The only thing I would say, just about just the video, is maybe turn your camera, just so we can see more.
Okay.
Just because I feel like it's all whatever this way or whatever.
Yes.
We can still see you, but only like a portion. So instead,
Okay.
if you turn it, just maybe be able to see just a little bit more of the room. Just because there was a lot, just because for us, we have these like super distracting environments where it's maybe a little bit more challenging to try to cover these standards, try to make sure you're checking for understanding that they're doing their exit tickets without like getting so off track or like without so much just all the time. I mean, and that's a little bit of me just kind of being like, hey, I'm a music teacher. Like the biggest thing we do is like listen. So like, why aren't these students in this lesson doing the same thing? Yeah. So, but they were. It's just this environment, and I know that you know this too. Is just a little bit more lively, a little bit more like everybody is moving through the different spaces, and then they're sitting down and they're getting ready. Okay, Miss Martin, here we go. Talk to us about everything. But there's still just so much like, okay, what's that? But there's not really much you can do about that because of the environment that we're in.
Right.
So that was like kind of the one thing I put in your evaluation about just a comment about like what could have been different, but that's not really something in your control when you don't have the traditional classroom where you have your students, where there's less distractions essentially, so that's the only thing that I saw in the lesson plan, and I was just like, man, I bet she's thinking in this moment like, listen, please, like, stop chatting over there, stop chatting over here, stop chatting over here. We're focused on what we're doing. But that's just our challenge, and that's where we have to be like the shiniest thing in the room. So, like that being said, like I definitely saw you like doing that. I love the way that you like introduced the lesson, and you were just like kind of. I feel like you were trying to illustrate like this point of the room, this point, this point, this point. Yeah, okay, good. And I feel like they were like picking up on that pretty quickly, just like, oh, and then we're talking about area, and okay. So I thought that was really great, just to like talk to them like, hey, if it was not a familiar concept to them, but I feel like it was. You guys were, that was part of this plan, building on previous knowledge that you guys had worked on. So it seemed to be really, really nice the way that was just, hey, we're kind of reviewing this. Don't forget, I'm walking around the room for this reason, and then you were just like formula, like, and because that's what you're teaching.
Forget it on that TCAP. It's gonna, and then I'm like, ooh, what did Miss B say?
Yeah.
It's gonna be on that test.
And it's like the formula for areas, length times widths or whatever. The formula for this is length times, and it was they were like, wait, hold on.
They kept mixing in.
Yeah. But in terms of delivering the content, doing those standards, I mean, you were definitely exceeding what you were supposed to do. Exceeding the standard. Here's what it is. Okay, everybody in the room is pretty familiar. That's the formula. There it is on the board. So I think in terms of those standards, awesome. There's some things that you could be doing to just like enhance all of it.
Okay.
And I put these two things that I mentioned in the evaluation too. Just like going off of what you're already doing, like your style. the kiss your brain thing. Like, I thought that's awesome, and I know you probably say that kind of stuff all, those encouraging things like good job, you got the answer. Or I've seen you do that too, the silent celebrations, like kiss your brain and all that stuff. I feel like you could step that up
Okay.
and do like a big call and response thing, just like kiss your brain, and they say make it rain or like whatever, and do some kind of silly motions with it too. And you were kind of already doing it, kiss your brain and I'll make it rain kind of stuff. So just going back to that like shiniest thing in the room,
Okay.
like when you're celebrating, like make it big, and like make it, because you still want them to be focused on you, so that they're listening to the next thing you're saying. So I just saw that was happening, and I was like, oh, she could maybe enhance that a little bit, just by kind of like amping up that, like kiss your brain, and you could do different motions every day, or what. You don't make it super complicated or whatever, but that one that I saw was like one spot where I was like, oh, okay, she could try this and see what you think about that. So that little suggestion, just kiss your brain, do whatever, and they have to respond, or it can be, maybe it could be something even better, like if you want them to be like papers or pencils or whatever, but not like poking other people. They'd be like kiss your brain, and they have to like clap their hands, make it rain or something, and then they're like, they have to put their pencil down for a moment, clap their hands. I'm going a lot on that, so but that's just one little idea of how you could kind of just keep engagement and just keep them like focused on you, like and almost in a way that's like they're not expecting you to do that. Like kiss your brain, or something startling, or something kind of like catches them off guard, and then they're like kind of right back into okay, whatever you're doing. So I'm gonna give you a lot of that kind of entertainment kind of side, because that's my expertise, I guess. Okay, so then the other thing was kiss your brain, and there's something else you were doing that I really liked also. And I was like, oh shoot. It was okay. I got it. It was the like when you were showing them on the board, like here's the formula, but then you were telling them about a different way to figure that out.
The simple and the simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Giving it little names so they can remember. If they can't do it the formula way, then they could just do it the adding way. Yeah.
Yes, that stuff, like 17 times or whatever that problem was, 17, 8 times.
Some of them add like that. I'm like,
well, I think that's the next note. The second thing I put in your evaluation is like in those moments of like you telling them, hey, here's the strategy, a different strategy, and here's how to do it. Get somebody else up to the front. Like you were already like, I love the way that you say too, like somebody want to be courageous, come up to the front, work this out. Like that is awesome. You're just like, who wants to do it? And I'm supporting you as I'm saying I'm doing. That's great. But so like have somebody else come up, and before you even introduce the other strategy, make them try to figure it out on their own.
right. Hey,
and they might already know a
you know
different
another
way,
way to
and
solve
you would
it.
learn another way, and then that's if you had 2 strategies you already shown, you got a third now. Student supplied, peers supplied. You want to make sure that's like a good strategy that like is actually one that works. You don't want them to make something up, but yeah, give them the opportunity to engage in that, and you've got a lot of those kids that I think that are willing to be like, yeah, I think I can maybe figure this out. I'm courageous, because you're providing that nice supportive environment already. That the beginning of class pledge thing you guys do, super awesome. So I feel like you could kind of change just the way
Tweak
that you're
it a little
doing that,
bit.
tweak it, and instead of just be like, hey, let me show you this. Be like, you know what? Who wants to try this out another way? And maybe they'll get to like, oh, I could do it 17, 17, 17, because you're just like they're already adding that way anyway. So that they're behind in terms of those skills, but meeting them where they are is super important. And building on that. So if that works for them and they are able to understand it, awesome. So. So yeah, I think those were those 2 things that I just saw, and I was like, yes, I did the evaluation officially, whatever, and but I wanted to tell you those things as well, because they were awesome. You were, so they were awesome, and I think you could just continue to tweak it, make it even better and better.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I want
Thank
to
you.
let me ask you one last question, then we're done. Super quick. What would you change, if anything at all, if you were in a traditional classroom?
I don't know, because I would make it more student centered.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of kids that are shy. So I would probably just put in a lot of things to where it's having the student lead some of the instruction rather than me leading it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I would really change.
You can definitely make it more personal and customized, when it's your own physical space that you're in all day long. So just glad to hear that you're like, yeah, I would do it differently. Of course, it would be more personalized, and you would probably know those students a little bit better too. You know these students here, of course, but just because you're not spending as much time with them, because they're rotating and all this stuff. So yeah. All right. You felt like it went well and all that?
Yes, I really do. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you.